So Be'ez Hashem, we'll learn a little bit about Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. So, in general, Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, is connected with the 10 dibros, the ten words that were spoken on Sinai, which is known as the 10 Commandments. So these are the 10, called the 10 dibros. These 10 correspond in turn to the 10 utterances of creation, which is in the beginning of creation, the story of Bereshis, in the beginning of Genesis. The Torah tells us that the world was created through divine speech. Vayomer Hashem, Hashem said, let there be light, there was light. Hashem said, let there be man, and there was man. These are called the 10 ma'amaras, the 10 utterances, which the world was created. So the 10 commandments are connected to the 10 original utterances of creation. And this is the story of creation and then eventually revelation. And in between these two narratives, between the creation story and the revelation story, is the story of the going down into Egypt, the Exodus story, which over there also there's a revealing of another type of 10, which is called the 10 makas, the 10 plagues. So let's understand that between the revealing of the 10 utterances of creation, between the creation story and the revelation story at Sinai, between the creation story of the 10 utterances, Mamoras, and the revelation story of the 10 commandments, there is the 10 plagues. So what is the connection? So in general, the idea of a mind, what is the idea of a mind? The idea of a mind, a speech, a word, of utterance, is that a word is a revealing. That just like when a person speaks, a person says something. So the speaking of something is a way that a person reveals what's going on inside. A person has a thought or a feeling, and then they want to reveal their thought and feeling to the outside, to somebody else, so they speak it. So speech is a form of a revelation. And therefore, when the creation story, the Torah talks about the creation story and says that the world is created through speech, this means deeply that the world is a revealing of the Creator. That in the creation, there's a revealing of the Creator. When the Torah starts with Bereshis bar Elokim, in the beginning Hashem created, Elokim created. Elokim is connected to the world of nature, to nature. In fact, the name Elokim is the same numeric value as the word in Hebrew for nature. So when it says that bar Elokim, that Hashem created, Elokim created, bara means externalization. So in the beginning, there was an externalization, or if you translate this into High German, in the beginning, Hashem externalized himself, which means there was a revealing of the divine oneness within the multiplicity of creation. So that's the way the creation was. The creation was a revealing of the Creator. It was a mimer. It wasn't just Hashem made something, and if you make something, it's not necessarily revealing of the maker. But when the Torah wants to describe creation as speech, and does describe it as speech, it's telling us that it's a revealing. The world is a revealing of the Creator. And this is why when Avram Avinu comes along, and when Avram Avinu comes along and has an awareness of the Creator, how does he come to the awareness of the Creator? Like the Rambam writes, Maimonides writes, that the way that Avram came to this awareness of the Creator is through contemplating creation, through contemplating the cosmos and the vastness of the creation. Avram came to a recognition of the Creator, because creation itself lends itself to the possibility of revealing that there is a Creator. The language of the sages, when Avram saw a bira delekas, he saw a home on fire, and a home on fire can mean something that's negative, that's a home that's being destroyed, but also can mean a place of passion and desire. He saw a beautiful world, a world that's burning up with fire, that's blurring with fire, with passion, and he delved into the creation, and then he came to the recognition as Yesh Balabayas Nibirzu. There is a Creator, there is an owner to this home. This is Avram coming to the awareness of the Creator through the creation. That through nature, there's a mimer, there's a revealing of the divine presence. And this is also what it speaks about Avram Avinu, that it says that Avram would bring people into his tent, Like the Torah describes that Avram's tent was an open tent, and he'd bring people into his tent. And what he would do is he would give them to eat, and then after they would eat, he would tell them to make a blessing, or he would say that you have to pay for the food. Which deeply what this means by making a blessing for the food is not that he was saying you should bless for the fact that you were nourished and recognize it's almost like you did this, therefore you should do that. But he's saying if you think about deeply what you just did by the mere act of eating, which is through the whole digestive system and how does it break down nutrients into your body and how you receive sustenance from this food. If you just contemplate just the world of your body and the eating process, you become aware of the blessing of the Creator. That there's a Creator that created this wonderful, magnificent universe, and the delicate and intricate details of every single aspect of your creation. Through delving into the nature of creation, become aware of the Creator. This is like the we'll call the theology of the stomach. It's not a theology of philosophy. It's not everyone is trying to give them to understand that there's a Creator through some type of meditative, contemplative, philosophical constructs. But he's saying just by the fact of eating, just by doing things with the stomach, just eating, you become aware of the Creator. This is a way to look at creation and see within the creation the mimer, the revealing of the Creator. But the nature of speech is like this. The nature of a saying, and this is what the world is created through a divine saying, through a mimer, is that it only reveals so long as there is a connection to the person to the revealer himself. This means what as follows. Let's say, for example, person A tells person B an idea that he heard from person C. So person A hears an idea from person C, and then he tells this over. Person A tells it over to person B. Now, if person B, the recipient of that transmission that was given over from person A, knows person C, this person B may say, by the way, what you're saying, Mr. A, sounds like something Mr. C would say. So by revealing the words, person A is revealing words that he heard from person C to person B, who knows person C, the person B will say, I actually know that this comes from this other person, or that sounds like, or you tell a friend of your wife or of your husband an idea, and it says, oh, that's something it sounds like your husband would say or your wife would say. Because if you know the revealer of this idea, there's a connection, therefore you can understand it as a revelation. But if person A tells over to person B an idea that he heard from person C, the person B does not know person C, they'll think that you're the origin of the idea. The person A is the originator of that idea. So therefore, within the inherent within creation is a revealing, which means person A, so to speak, creation is revealing to person B, which is us, the recipient of creation, that there's a divine presence that revealed to person A. But it only works if we have a relationship with the divine. The deeper we have a relationship, the more we can sense within creation the Creator. So therefore, two people can look at a sunset, and one person can say, "Wow, its majesty and its beauty, and how great and wondrous is the works of the Creator." And another person can say, "Oh, it's just a combustion of certain gases, etc." So you can look at the exact same thing with a sense of wonder, the sense of awe, and the sense of transcendence, or you can just look at it and say, "Okay, that's a natural phenomenon," because since creation is a revealing through an act of speech, which that's the form of the revelation. Just like speech, if you know the originator of the speech of the idea, you can sense it within the words. You can sense the originator of the idea. But if you don't have a relationship with the Creator, then you can look at creation and not see the Creator. That's the nature of creation. So therefore, what happened actually over time, from the beginning of creation story, is that it brought a person to a place where, and again, using the language of the Rambam, Maimonides, is that it brought civilization to a place where originally they looked at the sun and the stars and all the powers of the universe and said, well, these are just forces that were created by the Creator, and they recognized the Creator. But over time, they started worshiping the means as an end. That they started worshiping actually the sun and the moon and the Nile and the rivers and different animals. They started worshiping that was the world of paganism, where they started worshiping nature, because if first they did it in deference and in reverence to the creator, but then eventually they worshiped the thing in itself, and they started worshiping nature itself. Even even the name of Elohim, which is connected to nature, they even were connected to that world of nature. They recognized the divine within all of nature. So the Egyptians, for example, were, and that's the next big story in the Torah. The Egyptians, for example, were worshippers of the Nile. They're worshippers of the sun, of the Raka. Then when Moshe comes to Pharaoh, and tells him that Hashem, which is the transcendent one, which was not revealed, says to let the people out of Egypt, Paro says, "Mi Hashem Hashem Rekoyle." Who's Hashem that I should listen to his voice? He says, and he pulls out a book according to the Medrash, and he actually looks through the different names, tens of thousands of names of different deities, of the natural kind, and he says, I know Elohim, I know the God of nature, but I don't know a God of transcendence. I don't know that there's something that's transcendent of creation. And therefore, why should I listen to this voice? So what happens then, in order for the world to be refined, to receive the higher revelation, there had to be the process of the 10 plagues. What are the 10 plagues, the 10 makkos? The 10 plagues correspond and correlate to the 10 utterances. Generally, the movement goes from bottom up. So the first plague, which is blood, corresponds to the first of the utterances, and then moving upwards. And what's the concept of the plague? The plague was to break the stubborn attachment to the connection to saying that this thing of nature is actually a divine. So what was the nature of the plague? The nature of the makkos, the plagues were that, let's say, for example, the plague of blood was that you worship the Nile, and here now the Nile, which is a source of sustenance and nourishment, now turns into blood. Or you worship the sun god, and now it's going to be darkness, which is going to cloud out and darken the sun, which means it's revealing that there's a higher power than nature, that there's natural forces, and true, they have power, but it's not an independent power. The power that comes from something that's transcendent of them. So the way the makkos, the plagues, broke the idol worship consciousness of worshiping nature and said that there's actually something that's transcendent in nature. And because of that, there was the revealing of the 10 commandments, the 10 diburs. So a dibur is a speech. So in Maimoros is saying, a mimer is to say, and a dibur is to speak. So there's one difference between these two is that saying, an amira, a saying, is to someone. It's not like Vayom Hashem, Hashem said to Moshe. But there's no speaking, there's no saying with someone. It's not communication. It's not dialogue. Dibur, speech, is a way to speak to someone and also with someone. Who diber ito, he spoke with him. Not who amar ito, he said to him, he said with him. That doesn't work in Hebrew. So the word dibur, one concept of the idea of the commandment, which the Torah actually doesn't call it commandments, but it's more referred to as the 10 speeches, 10 spoken words. This means that there was a connection. There was an intimate connection between the transcendent and the recipients of Sinai. The other idea, which is the main concept, which is what happened at Sinai, is that now there was a revealing of Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am your God. But it says Anochi. So first of all, it's Elokecha, your God. So it means because it's a dibur, it's an intimate speech. It's not saying to, but communicating with. It's speaking with. But also it says Anochi, I, and Hashem, transcendent one, which is beyond nature, is the revealing of itself in Elokecha, in the revealing of nature, which is that nature is one with the transcendent one. That Hashem, the transcendent one, becomes Elokecha, is one with the God, the aspect of God that's revealed within nature. How is that revealed? That's revealed through the word Anochi. Anochi means I. What is the I? The I is, Anochi is ki, like the Hebrew word ani, like the I, which means that it represents the transcendence of Ayin, of infinity, of Ein Sof, of infinite, but also the transcendence of infinity that becomes Ki'ani, like an eye, like the revealing within the fullness of creation. That Hashem Elokecha means that there was a revealing in Torah, the receiving of the Torah, of the revealing of the oneness of Hashem, of the transcendence of Hashem, the ultimate transcendence of transcendence of Hashem that includes, it's an inclusive transcendence that includes also the finitude of creation, which is Hashem, the transcendent one, becomes Elokecha. And then when we look at this world, like we say, like the Kabbalists and Kabbalim say, is that it's revealed that the Olam, the world, is a roshim of the Torah, is an imprint of the transcendent wisdom of the Torah. And the Torah is a roshim of the Lakus, and the Torah itself is an imprint of divinity. So when you look at creation, you look at the physical creation, what the 10 dibros, what the 10 commandments, what the 10 speeches that were given over at Sinai, what that revealed in creation is that when you look in creation, not only do you see the creation itself as an aspect of the divine, of a revealing of the divine nature, of sort of the divine finite nature, which is revealed within nature, but within nature you have a sense of the transcendence. And that was made possible through the process of the breaking open of the physical world that happened through the makas, through the plagues, which allowed for a higher level of transcendence and a higher level of revealing. And that's really one of the deep understandings of what actually happened at Matan Torah, at the receiving of the Torah, which was the world that was revealed to be not only a reflection of the divine aspect of Elohim, of nature, of the natural, but also the world was revealed to be a place with the infinite one, something that is actually transcendent, but also includes finitude, was revealed in the finitude of creation. And when we observe the world, and we observe it deeply, in a way of achdus, in the way of unity, not separating the ma'amoros, the 10 utterances of creation, from the 10 utterances of revelation, we can actually sense the presence of Hashem, the presence of the divine, in every aspect of creation, not only the finite aspect of creation, but truly see the infinite one being expressed in all the finitude of